to order. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this point, we're going to open the meeting, and this is the annual meeting, which is a meeting of the residents or electorate in Casco Township. There are no board members at this meeting. Everyone has the same vote on anything that's voted on. I'm going to run the meeting, and we'll need motions and support, and we'll raise hands for votes. Everybody, there's agendas up here on the table if you didn't grab them. The top will say 2018 annual meeting. And when we're done with this portion of the meeting, then we'll jump into the regular meeting. 2017 was a decent year for the township. We paved a mile on St. Clair Highway. I see in the paper today the bids came in for the bridge on St. Clair Highway, which is in China Township, like 200,000 under estimate, so that'll be getting done this year sometime. We got about half our ditching done last year, and then we ran out of a year when it froze. It's not a done deal, but it's highly likely that Meisner will be paved, completed this year.
Those are gentlemen that was here last year.
So everyone on Meisner will probably be happy. We have the budget tonight in the regular meeting for next year. Due to the increase in burglaries, one of our residents started, and that's Wayne Bumgarden, started the neighborhood watch. They've already had 3 meetings. Those are posted on our website and on the township. They're on a variety of Facebooks. We got an acquisition grant from the State Trust Fund for park property in the amount of $148,000. And within several months, we hope to close out on that. I'm hoping everyone got their newsletter in with their tax assessment. And I know everything's jammed on there pretty tight, but there's a lot of information on there. Hopefully it helps somebody out. That being said, we're going to move along. The next item is approval of the agenda. I'm going to add one thing under number 2. It'll be 2A, and that's request for a township garage sale. Does anyone else, including the audience, have anything they'd like to alter or add to the agenda?
If there's no other additions or amendments, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the item added.
Somebody needs to support that.
And you guys can support it out there.
Wayne.
Supporting.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion before we vote? Hearing none. Now, as long as you're a resident and you're eligible to vote, even if you're not registered, you have the right to vote. Raise your hand if you're in favor of the motion. Wayne, or you want to be the counter here?
12.
Those opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. The next item is approval of the minutes from last year. The second page in that little packet is the minutes from last year. So we need a motion to approve those.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve those minutes. Did everyone get a chance to browse over them, or if you want a minute, we can certainly do that. If you're good to go, is there any discussion on the motion? So if you're in favor of the motion to approve those minutes, please raise your hand. Mr. Counter?
Looks like 12 to me.
Okay, 12 ayes. Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Yep. Might as well grab some stuff while you're up there. Well, we got, first we're doing the annual meeting, their agenda's on one, and then the regular meeting's on the other one. We got here just the right time, probably for you, we're up to number one on the annual meeting. Hmm? Are you a resident, sir?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, we just gotta change the number here.
yeah, because you have to be a resident to vote, that's why I asked. Because we'll have some votes coming. Okay, moving on. Number one, elected official salaries. In January, the board approved a resolution to, and that's the third page of your little packet here, to request a raise for the clerk of 2%, which is from $27,991.28 to $28,551 even. Now, this rate of pay is for the office, not the person. So if they run away tomorrow and we appoint somebody else, they get the same amount of pay. It's been 4 years since the clerk got a pay increase. And that's about it. So we need a motion to approve resolution 2018-02.
So moved.
Is there any support?
I'll support.
Okay, moved and supported. Is there any discussion from anyone in attendance? Or on up here? Hearing none, we're gonna have a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those against? Those abstaining? I guess
What's
you
the
get
count?
12?
Well, you had two didn't vote, correct?
I don't
No, I
know.
didn't.
You're counting.
Well, yeah. You
It'd
didn't
still
vote.
be 12.
I have my hand
I
up.
just-
11?
11 and 2 sustained, correct?
For 13.
No,
Well-
we're from Robinson.
No, I mean, like, Bill didn't vote and Peggy.
I had my hand up.
I didn't see it.
Higher.
So we got 12.
It's 12. Enthusiastic. And you abstained, Patty?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the gentleman that just arrived voted. I didn't see his hand, so,
Did you vote, sir?
Yes.
okay. Well, now it's 12 with one abstention.
Yes, got it, thank you.
Okay, moving on to item B. Basically identical to the last one, only it's for the position of treasurer. The same thing holds. There's been no increase since 2014, and we're looking at a 2% raise.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2018-03.
I second.
Moved and supported to approve resolution 2018-03 for the treasurer's salary. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Please raise your hand.
Looks like it's 13.
13. So I assume there's no nays or abstentions. Now we're moving on to item C. That's the same thing as the last two, only it's for the supervisor's salary. The end result is the same. The starting number is lower because the supervisor's salary has not changed since 2007, which is 11 years. So,
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2018-05.
I'll support.
moved and supported to adopt resolution 2018-05. Is there any discussion? You get to raise your hand if you're in favor of it. Oh, not me. Okay,
12.
12.
against? I
One
abstain.
abstain.
Thank you. Okay, moving along. Now, this is the crux of usually the meeting, because we don't get raises very often. This is your opportunity to, questions, comments. If you have anything you think we should be doing. Years ago, the annual meeting, they could take votes and have all kinds of power. You've just exercised the only legal power you have this meeting, is to raise salaries.
I bet those
Okay.
were interesting annual meetings.
Oh, I'm sure
Yes,
they
they
were.
Well, if you got enough people, I went to a lot of them, and they certainly were. I mean, if you had, everybody that lived on one road came and said, I want that ditch cleaned, and they all voted for it, and the board had to allocate money to that ditch. Well, that's a long time ago. Anyway, so you can certainly vote on things, but it's only advisory from this point on. So if there's anybody here that has any concerns or comments, We certainly welcome them. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just because you don't know me, I'm your county commissioner, Dave Rushing. I try to make up some of the meetings. I think this would be a good time. If they have any questions for me, rather.
I can catch you on the regular meeting, but that's okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to make an amendment to your agenda.
So
So.
we oughta, for this portion, we ought to have a soapbox right in the middle, so.
That would be grand.
Okay, yeah, right.
Any of you guys,
But
just,
I can wait for your regular meeting.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you right at the start, so you don't have to stick around. Were you gonna try and make another township meeting tonight, or not?
I know,
Okay, because Columbus, I think, meets on the same night, so sometimes,
7:30, I believe.
yeah, so sometimes they come and they say, you know, if you can get down quick, all right,
Yep.
like Columbus. So. Okay, okay, we're still in number 2, any matters of concerns? Don't see anything, we'll go on to 2A. And this is a request for a township garage sale. Mrs. Stover, you want to address that?
You see, I can read the letter, or you can read the letter. We would just like to do a neighborhood garage sale. A tentative date would be July the 28th, so that we can cooperate with St. Paul's in Casco. They have their annual church sale that day. And we just want to use the township hall here for our coolers and to have our lunch and to use the restrooms. And the north parking lot will be set up for vendors, and the south parking lot will be set up for parking. And we will behave ourselves entirely and clean up after ourselves. And we might just have a little township picnic while we're at it. And so I'm asking your permission to have the use of the hall that day. And I'm not quite sure what day that will be, but we will let you know.
So it's not the 28th?
No, it's not the
Tentative.
28th, that's
Well,
tentative, because we want
Well,
to, yeah, if we
You're
coordinate with
gonna
St.
come,
Paul's.
you're gonna come back and
Oh, I
give
will,
us the.
yeah,
This is
we'll-
just kind
We'll
of
put it out there.
random.
And we won't run it the same weekend that they do them.
No, that bridge to Bay, no, because that's absurd. You could get killed going to that. And, yeah.
no, it's a great idea, but we have to check, legal counsel sees.
I checked with insurance and he said,
I'm gonna be sitting right at the door.
As
My
long
booth
as
is
there's-
gonna be right at the door, and they have to go through me to get in here, so no shenanigans.
no, I did check and he said as long as there's no alcohol and you don't have any like the things for the kids where they go in these big air bubbles and bounce around, stuff like that.
I mean, but people selling stuff, I mean, are we?
It's
Well,
a
we're not
garage
gonna, we're not gonna
garage
take any
sale.
money.
We don't, you do
We're not
your
rent-
own, you
we're
do
not
your
rent-
own.
I
stuff.
understand that, but selling stuff on township property, is there any, let's say, selling guns or that, I mean.
No, hon, garage sale.
Yeah, there might be a list of things that probably should, chainsaws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You don't want
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
started up and cut their leg,
Well,
right? That's
Right, I just wanted, if it
I'm
transactions
probably gonna
that
be
take
babies.
place.
We'll check into it. If there's a,
But you don't know though.
Yeah.
if there's a negative list, we can give it to anybody that's.
Okay, I just wanna,
It's girl stuff.
Well, you never know. That's a good question, Joe.
Yeah,
no,
It is a good,
I just wanna make sure
you don't
that,
want any
I think it's a
liability.
good idea, just, you know.
thank you.
And I've been assured that we'll probably have the hall open for the restrooms, but anytime the hall is open, it'll be monitored, so nobody can come in and do things they shouldn't do.
Okay.
So, don't hear any negative comments on that? This is the first ever, so we'll see how it works out if we get there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The only question I would ask is, like, if we're gonna have vendors, if they pay a fee to do for like a charity or something?
Well, I mean, we could have a little coffee clutch and talk about that, but I mean, we're all kind of not, it isn't a fundraiser, it's a garage sale.
The
So,
township residents will just bring the stuff they wanna sell and sell
yeah,
it.
and sell it,
Instead
and
of
then
in your
bring it
house,
home.
It's here, yeah.
You may not leave it here.
Right. When you're done, you pack it up.
If you do,
And it's the
I
first
will
year.
find you.
If we think there's a problem with vendors, we can easily exclude them from any future tries. We'll just say, no vendors, you must show us, ID. We're not, no matter what, we're not taking money from anybody.
No, you all bring your own cash boxes.
And I don't think they're gonna get enough traffic here to really excite too many vendors. There was a lady that called me earlier this year that wanted to have a giant garage sale with vendors, and I told her she could not do it to charge rent for the tables. Yes, sir.
Maybe, I don't know if what's county road or whatnot, but just before the garage sale, maybe they can, wet down the road so it's not all dusty.
I think that's gonna
Fun
happen.
of it.
I mean, I don't know if
We
that
don't
can
have
be
that kind
coordinated.
of authority.
Timing
I
is
don't-
everything.
I wish I did.
That'll
I wish
keep
I
the rural
did. We don't have that kind of authority.
So, it's a good idea,
And
but
if
Yeah,
it,
'cause
If
nobody's
I'm
gonna
in
show up
charge
next
of
year if they
anything,
get choked up with
believe
dust.
me,
Maybe
it will
we'll
rain.
pray, everybody put your
It will
groceries
rain.
in a tree and maybe we'll get rain.
and if someone leaves stuff behind, just put free by the road, it'll be gone within a half hour. That's my experience.
No puppies, no kidding. No.
we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll try and I'll let you know when the date's gonna be.
Okay, moving on. Item 3, adjournment. We need a motion, please. Is there any support for that?
Support.
Moved and supported to adjourn. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Looks like it's unanimous.
Okay, motion carries.
13, you say?
Yep.
And it is 7:17.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
moving on.
Hold on a minute.
As soon as the secretary is ready.
Hold your,
One moment, please. There we go. What time is it?
Same as it was a second ago when you
7:17?
closed out the other
In
one.
45 seconds?
Yep.
we get a pledge of the flag?
Okay,
No.
no, we'll waive
We'll
that.
waive it.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting, the regular board meeting to order. We're gonna waive the pledge since we just did it a matter of a few minutes ago. We are up to approval of the agenda. If nobody, rather than adding it to the agenda, if nobody objects, we'll just allow Mr. Rushing to speak under the correspondence section. So we need approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of Commissioner Rushing speaking under correspondence.
Support.
Okay. So you want that added to the agenda then, Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so he'll be C then, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
He's our St. Clair County Commissioner, right?
yep. District 5, isn't it?
6.
6. Oh, 5's over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
6.
Oh, you were testing
Make
them.
sure, well, they used to give us a map of their pictures and they had their district numbers, but that was Mr. Masters. I think it was up till a couple years ago. So, okay, we have a motion and support
Oh, who supported?
Golston.
to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? You guys don't get to vote anymore, that's.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. The next item was approval of the minutes for February 13th.
I make a motion, the minutes be approved as presented.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to approve the minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. The next item is the financial report.
We began the month with $270,971.10. We took in receipts of $105,189.09 and made disbursements in the amount of $52,057.19, leaving us with an ending balance in the general fund of $324,103.
Make the motion to receive the financial report as submitted.
Support.
Moved and supported to receive the financial report as submitted. Is there any discussion?
You just want local stabilization.
We're not going to tell you what that is.
Come on, what is that?
It comes from the state of Michigan, and it reimburses us for, what is it?
Delinquent?
Personal property delinquent roll. So it's about the same amount every year,
Okay.
and
all
it
right.
comes at the same time every year.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Did you take
Go
a
ahead.
vote on that?
Not yet.
Not yet?
All right, I'm waiting for the vote.
Oh. Okay, moved and supported. No more discussion. Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries.
And now, if you will excuse me, this is the first time in 24 years I've ever done this, but I'm running a fundraiser for East China Schools, and Neiman's Market, who is doing the fundraiser, picked the date.
7:20.
And they said today from 7 to 9. So please excuse me for the rest of the meeting. I will never do this again. But before I go, speaking of fundraisers, I would like to invite you all on the 25th of March to Perch Point for the best corned beef dinner in St. Clair County put on by St. James. 4 o'clock, I have tickets.
I thought you were gonna go to
I do
Rushmore.
apologize. This is just, it's very rude and I apologize, but I have a chance to make money for
Okay.
the schools.
Have fun.
And
I was
then,
trying to go see a
watch
hockey
she
game or
live.
something.
Bye, Colleen.
Okay.
Karen would shotgun the meeting if there was a football or hockey game.
Yeah. She's off to do good.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I know.
moving on.
He says,
Correspondence, item A, road commission meeting. The end of February, we had our annual road commission meeting. Good news is the price of limestone and chloride remains unchanged. They're giving us a teeny bit more money in the matching money. They're still giving us the 10,000 for ditching. And if you put on your quota of limestone, they still give you the 80-20 limestone spread. And so hopefully it's gonna be a good year. We did get approved for matching money for ditching. So Northern Road ditching should be finished one way or the other. And that was about it for the meeting. Joe, you were there? Anything you wanna say?
No, it just, it was interesting because we were talking about different, with the engineers about the different intersections which are dangerous. And they get the reports from the state police or sheriff's department if accidents been reported. Okay, if accidents don't get reported, they don't know about it if an intersection is dangerous or not. So that, because we were asking some questions about, especially when they do pave Meisner Road, like Meisner Road and Palms. What does that take to get a four-way in there? Well, there's certain triggers in order to get it. A lot of times it's accidents. And I think it's myself, I'm not a traffic engineer, but once they get that in, I think they should seriously look at making that a four-way stop.
Well, and I asked them about Church Road and Meiser. And they said what they do is, if they pave it, they will do a traffic study. And the traffic study will tell them whether to change the stop signs or go four-way or whatever. So they'll take it, but they're in love with roundabouts right now.
Yeah. Well, in order for there, they would have
Well,
to.
they're gonna put a roundabout on Church Road. But Wadhams and Fred Moore, you're gonna be seeing.
Yeah, but I've seen it on multiple occasions I'd be coming down Church Road and someone's on Meisner Road, they do not stop. They go right through it.
It's all over. So, but they do love roundabouts because the state heavily subsidizes them
Subsidizes
more
them.
than other things. And, you know, they've talked about several other intersections too, but we'll see what
And
happens.
it's a fixed cost, there's no lights or anything, so.
No, but it actually costs more to put in because it takes a bigger area than a red light.
Yeah.
So that's where you run into the cost.
Yeah, you'd have to go through, you'd have to condemn land around it, you know, get it from the homeowners, if it doesn't fall in the right of way.
So, we shall see.
Yeah, the county's actually looking up at Fredmore Highway, Wadhams Road.
They
Both.
focus where there's fatalities.
Yeah, they had that.
And there's been fatalities and major
Yeah,
accidents there, so
yeah, very tragic one a couple of years.
we'll see. Okay, if there's nothing else on that, we'll move on to item B, which is the Richmond Lennox EMS. We received our annual invitation to their employee recognition dinner, which is gonna be April 7th at Maniachi's Banquet Center in Richmond. And everything's on there, so you can RSVP if you feel like going. Moving on, item C. Mr. Rushing, who is our county commissioner. He's a former supervisor in Riley. And he's gracious enough to be here tonight.
Yeah,
He's
it's
gonna,
been a while.
he's gonna fill us with words of wisdom and how the,
Stand up, so.
how the county's gonna help us. Well, you wanna be on TV better than get something to do that? This isn't an election year though, is it?
Yes, it is.
Commissioners every 2 years.
When I first started as county commissioner, I went to like 70 township board meetings. But what happens in the meetings, I try to update with the county. We had a lot going on when I first ran for county commissioner. We had the convention center that got built, and where I was one of the 2 no votes because of the funding. I support the convention center, I didn't support the funding. But we have a new guy, I was gonna bring that up. Gino, a new manager running the convention center, and he's doing a fantastic job. The deficit that we're looking at a 30-year deficit of $300,000 a year. He's cut that in half. That's just the debt for the building. So he's doing a great job there. I could bring up the county landfill. If you're not aware, when I did run for office, for whatever, the county commissioners at that time weren't township friendly, and that's another reason why I ran. The funding for roads went down to $500,000. When I was township supervisor at Riley, it was up to over $900,000. We got it back up to $950,000. That's what you said, you got a slight increase, and got a very good partnerships with 23 townships and the road commission for the stone, and however they work, but they've got a very good partnerships, and you got hiccups and stuff they can call. I think got a very good working relationship with the road commission.
We do.
As far as the landfill, if you weren't aware of how our landfill works, it's kind of like think of a pie. What we have is 8 cells. It's rectangular. It goes different places. It isn't a geometric figure you could look at, but it's cut into 8 cells. And what we've done, we have the only solid waste patent in the whole United States. What we do, we pour leachate into where we dump the garbage. And we have other places in Florida is looking to potentially purchase our technology for that. But what this allows us to do, at our county landfill, we do 1 cell per year. We pour the leachate in, it increases the methane gas, the breakdown. From that, we have 2 huge generators at the landfill, and we're getting $850,000 a year from Detroit Edison. That's a 20-year contract. I believe there's 14 or 15 years left on that. So that will continue for life, and then we'll have another contract with them. But what we did with this is that each cell, in that 8-year cycle, you'll go back to the cell you were at. What that has allowed us to do, and every landfill in the nation and state of Michigan, every landfill is airspace. If you see what's going on in Lenox, we call it Mount Trashmore over there. It goes. With ours, it sinks back down. We have increased our landfill by 100 years because it keeps sinking back into the ground because we've accelerated the way it deteriorates and get the methane gas, and we're selling that. And that's part of where we get the funding for the roads. We also support our airport with the landfill money. People have gotten much better at their trash collecting. Normally, before it was like 1.5 tons for every household. It's getting closer to 1 ton. We were pressing 350,000 tons just from St. Clair County. We're a closed county. So everybody in the county has to take every contractor has to take the waste to our landfill. That dropped to about 250,000. At that point, we weren't making a profit or even a break-even scenario. So what we did, we contracted with Canada, and we were getting Canadian trucks, and we only get the smaller trucks over here. We're not like some of the other landfills because we don't have a dump facility there that can pick the whole truck up and dump it. But we're getting approximately 10 trucks a day. And that's gotten us close to about 300,000 tons again. What that does, it benefits the county, benefits the roads, and we do have the 100-year, even with that, we can regulate what we're capable of taking in. So if the Canadians say, well, we're gonna start bringing 300,000 tons of our own waste to St. Clair County, that's not gonna happen. And we can regulate that because we don't have the capacity for that. We can't. We don't have the facilities, and they can't mandate that on us. So I got that report. As far as the budget for the county, we've had, since I've been in office, and Bill knows that, when I ran for township supervisor in 2004, I didn't like the way they were handling the money. And we've had a surplus budget every year I've been in office. I'm the chair on the Ways and Means, and without raising taxes, we've had a surplus budget every year. We had about, when I first took office, we had about a $10 million decrease in tax revenues in 2008. So about 2010, that's when I did take office, but we've had a surplus budget every year. Little rundown, don't want to hold up your meeting, but if anybody has any questions you might have for the county.
What's your opinion of the governor's tipping fee increase?
I don't think that's going to affect us, and we're going to regulate that anyways. We can, if you haven't contracted with the county, what we're trying to do is get the townships to contract with the county. You have the private, your own residents pay for their rent.
Right.
Where Cotterville, Marysville saved $60,000.
But what I'm saying is, because the Canadian trash brought you break even,
Right.
raising the tippy from 36 cents to $4 and whatever.
And
Do you
I
think that
don't have
will
the figures in front of
negatively
me.
affect that?
I think it's going to end up being about 40 cents a month per, because we talked about this at the last meeting. It's going to be less than 50 cents.
But that's for resident. I'm talking about, is that gonna affect how much trash comes over to Canada, do you think?
No, we can regulate that. It's
Yeah.
regulated by the federal government. We cannot refuse Canadian trash. What we can do is limit the quantity.
What I'm saying is because the tipping fee cost is going up 8 times,
But we can
For the state.
regulate the tipping fees to Canada, which we do.
so you absorb the loss.
No,
Because you're
if
paying
we
them.
get an increase, we're going to pass it on to Canada.
I know. Well, my question was, you think that would be a disincentive for Canada to bring it over, that increase?
I don't believe so, and I haven't looked at it specifically, but if you look at how much they're bringing over here for like Lennox, they've taken an awful lot down to Riverview, I believe it is, one of the main ones. But that means that they're gonna get it from the entire state, and they're still gonna bring it over because they don't wanna bury it over there. And so, you know, the Canadian trash we get, it's very clean trash. If you're gonna get trash, it's good trash what we're getting.
What type of data do you have to support that?
So when we get over there, it deteriorates really quick.
my trash.
So,
It's commercial trash,
Correct.
correct? Yeah. Not residential.
And we charge more commercial also within the county. And
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
Kendall? No, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if this is your department, but there's been a lot of talk of a nuclear waste site going in a mile off of Lake Huron. Has the county
Yes.
talked with Canada about that at all? And
numerous times, we've had our Homeland Security involved with it too, but we've
Okay.
had signed resolutions. And of course, Phil Pavlo took a front row to
Okay.
that too. And we've had resolutions sent over to them, and hopefully they don't have it, but
Right.
they regulate themselves also.
I just wanted to know if the county
we-
was taking a stance and,
Yeah, we wrote a resolution a long time ago.
okay, awesome.
Yeah, you know how the president rolled out his new infrastructure plan where the funding, instead of 80% federal, 20 state, a switch. You know that Lansing is gonna take a lot of that and shove it down to the local level. Has there been any kind of discussion what that may mean for?
Well, we're not gonna have a lot of control over that, and I can give you a real brief scenario what my wife suggested. And I sent this to Senator Levin, and he didn't want to give up the dollars. What I requested back when the market dropped out is we spent over $90 million that one year when I sent the letter in St. Clair County. And what I requested is opening the bidding process to licensed contractors, people that are capable of doing the job, to assist with their infrastructure. And that 1%, so if you had a $100,000 contract, 1% of that would go to the local communities, equally divided by the population. And my wife came up with this idea. And I drafted a very good letter, and Carl Levin said, no, we're not gonna give up control of the dollars. Because that would have generated $90,000 additional dollars for the townships if you need it for ditching, berms, and that would help out a lot, maybe an extra chloride application if you decide to do that. But that didn't go anywhere. I also did it nationally, and it would have generated $5 billion additional dollars for the 50 states. But you didn't want to have anything to do with that. So as far as that, wherever they come up with the formula, they can do that. we'll give the input we can, but in my own opinion, we got 2 Democrat senators there that I don't think are gonna wanna give up control of the dollars or even argue for us in the state of Michigan. The majority of Michigan, like the majority of the country, the rural areas, not that I'm getting the party thing, but the Republicans, they don't get the say. The cities get a bigger say in Michigan because they got the populations, they put the senators that we currently have in office. So,
Okay, although in the state though, the majority of the people live in townships now.
Yes.
It's like 50 or 52% of
Yeah.
Michiganders live in townships, not cities, so,
and the majority of the roads are in townships.
yeah.
So even though they're gravel, they still require maintenance.
Right.
Okay, always appreciate you inviting me again.
Oh,
So,
no problem.
Yeah, thanks for coming, we appreciate
Yeah,
that.
good to see you again.
thank you.
Now,
Where can we get more info on the whole landfill and what goes on there?
Give me a call. Whatever questions you got, give me a call and I'll get you all the answers you want.
All right.
Matt Williams is our manager at the landfill.
how much information do you have on your website, county website?
Very little as far as the,
I don't know, I
The
never,
landfill.
to be honest with you, I never looked at the landfill on the website.
I haven't either, so.
I got a bunch of old literature, but it's several years old now.
Yeah, it's more along the lines of, you know, you hear the reports about the PCBs and whatnot in the water. And there's some recent reports on dirty drinking water with different chemicals and stuff. And I hear, you know, clean trash and landfills and this and that. And I'm a see it to believe it type of guy.
Our particular landfill is double lined. So before we put anything in there, it's double lined and it gets checked continuously.
By
State government, so they can come on.
Don't
DEQ.
your
Third party.
leachates go into the sewer?
The leachate goes in, we pump it out. Then we have our own dedicated lagoon system that we pipe it down to the airport and it cleans it all there. And it's dedicated just for the landfill. And it's all a sealed system.
Because,
Oh, I'm
like,
sorry, sir.
wasn't it about 2 or 3 years ago, what is it, Pine River, the name of the landfill? Weren't they looking to buy some property on, was it 27 Mile to expand the
Yes.
landfill?
They-
But if it keeps
That was
up,
Rizzo, I believe.
Yeah,
If memory's correct.
well, no, across in Lennox Township, they wanted to buy the golf course, Michigan Meadows,
Michigan
for
Meadows.
the clay to seal it. And the lakes that were formed, they wanted to give it to us, donate it to us for township land. But as we peeled it away and like we thought, nah, it wouldn't be a good idea. We'd want it, if it was lakes formed, have it home sites. And there's a thing about trucks going across. We asked them, both road commissions, both from Macomb, St. Clair County, because they owned waste management property that fronted on county line. Why don't you build a road so they only cross county line at one point, instead of putting trucks on county line, taking up the 29-mile road to make a left-hand turn. Well, Waste Management didn't want to put the money into that, plus local wells, that was a concern. And that kind of, Waste Management thought, nah, we don't need the hell, we need to claim from somewhere else.
They just wanted the material. Waste Management currently has enough land to last hundreds of years. Rizzo wanted to put in a landfill on 26 Mile several years ago, and Macomb County shot that down. And, but they were trying, so.
Rizzo's trying to stay out of jail.
Huh?
Rizzo's trying to stay
Oh,
out
yeah.
of jail.
Dave,
Oh, yeah.
how old is the landfill? When did it open up?
Jeez. It was after the 70s.
I
I'm
think
gonna
it
say
was there before
75.
this.
What's that? I was on the railroad in 75, and that's when the landfill, or when the pit closed. And I was working on the railroad in 74. I started in Richmond. We drove by there. You might be correct, but
I think it
it'd
was
be
in
right
the
around.
mid to late 60s, because I remember we had an old ratty truck, and I used to haul garbage there, and I know it would have been 67, 68.
Okay. At 74, when we go by, I never remember any movement over there, but it was probably a pretty big hole there. Used to get silica sand out of there. Special kind of sand.
Okay,
All
anything
right.
else?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for coming. If you had a rough day and you wanna leave, we'll forgive you, but you're more than welcome to stay.
I go to enough meetings.
Well, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Old business. A, neighborhood watch update, and our coordinator is here, so he can give us a quick rundown of what they're doing. And, then we'll get to the second part, which is, we're gonna hopefully give them a little bit of money for that.
Last meeting was the 27th of February, had between, I think, 18, 19 people here. Jeff White was here, give a good long presentation. And the sheriff was here, he talked a little bit. And it's all on YouTube if you want to watch it. You didn't make it here, or your neighbors didn't make it here. You didn't make it here, it's on YouTube. And
So, knowing you're probably gonna have one in a couple months,
yeah, probably.
and the sheriff deputy comes, they may have a different presenter every meeting, if somebody comes up with a good idea that they think people will be interested in. Wayne does a good job contacting people and getting everything set up for us. Anything else you wanna add, Wayne? Okay, the second part?
Yeah, well, I just comment, I was here for that.
It was extraordinary.
Yeah, Jeff White, I thought,
It was very good.
excellent, just a very quick, very truncated, short aid, first aid, you know, the big thing is, you know, people quit breathing, traumatic, choking, you know, techniques to use, and, I thought, yeah, tourniquets are back in style again. And I thought it was very good, and then the sheriff deputy here gave very good input, on.
The sheriff deputy is very good as far as getting hold of me or getting back with me when I call him. He answers the phone. He's very good.
Yeah, and Jeff White also told about if you want to take their expanded first aid course up there at the EMS center and that, so.
They give classes for CPR and first aid up at EMS in Richmond.
The issue came up about the defibrillator that I believe the township has, not?
We had one at one time.
We don't have one any longer? Should we have one?
You know, when we had it, I mean, it wasn't state of the art like they are now, but I think we gave it to a senior center or something at the time, because there's so little activity here.
Right, yeah.
And if it sits there, it sits there, and sits there, is it gonna work? So it was felt that it was better served where it went. I know they're pushing them again, because I had a call from a guy that
And they're
sells them.
much more, they explain what you do, very straightforward manner and
Right,
loud.
very easy to
Yeah,
work.
so it's, maybe they're a little different now than
So,
they once
Do you
were.
think, I mean, this is a public facility, perhaps we should investigate.
Yeah, but, well,
Well, we have the elections here and stuff.
we do.
And there's an aging population. I'm pardon.
Excuse me,
It's true.
you're
I
right.
think it might be a good idea to consider doing
I'll have to
that.
think about it.
Yeah.
I know the last time I read an article on it, it said that even when the defibrillator was there, the best they could ascertain was only a 10% chance of survival. That wouldn't have survived.
It's actually.
The chances of survival with a heart attack is very low in the first place, so.
But, you know, CPR
it's,
and an 8-minute ambulance call is probably just as sufficient in most cases.
But we don't have anybody trained for CPR.
Well, you can fudge CPR.
CPR. Jeff said that he would do, if we wanted to have, you know, a township thing, and he would give us a whole big old class.
Yeah, run a class
Just for
here
the township.
over a number of days,
But they do it
Yeah.
up
you know,
there.
in a practical manner.
Periodically, they do it.
Yes, they do them there, but he would do it here for us.
Well, back in the day, we used to go once a year, the township would go for CPR.
Yeah, but we're talking about having, you know, like an open thing, the whole township could
Right,
come
come in,
Oh,
yeah, right here
and do
conveniently.
it here.
Well, I guess I'd rather do it at EMS. They got all the facilities and the people right there. It's only 5 miles away.
You're one
That's
person.
true.
I know, I just said that would be my preference.
Well, what they're saying is that the township residents can come here
they can go there too.
That they might be more apt to come here.
They're more apt to come here than go
Because they
there.
can always
Yes.
go there.
It's also something that helps the township serve the citizens and makes our profile
good for
larger.
everybody.
We have more participants now because of Neighborhood Watch, which is
Good for everybody to learn
outstanding.
that.
Or maybe
You
at
know,
the next meeting,
we
maybe
have maybe a new generation of leadership coming through.
Wayne could get a
You know?
consensus from the attendees as to whether or not.
I just
they
wanted to say it was an outstanding
Well-
neighborhood watch program that was last time. It was really good.
Yeah. Good job.
Okay,
All right.
the second part of A, as we usually do when we send representatives to meetings, such as Homeland Security and NEMC, we give them a small amount of money for their effort and time, and usually we give them $30 a meeting. We have never allocated anything for that. There was nothing really in the budget for it. We did put a little bit in the budget, and I would recommend that we have a motion to,
Motion or resolution? Motion?
Motion.
just a
I
motion.
would move that we provide a $30 per diem
Stipend or whatever you wanna call it.
for the Homeland Security I'm sorry, for the Neighborhood Watch, you're not there yet. For the Neighborhood Watch coordinator.
I'll support
Been doing a
that.
wonderful job and we're lucky to have him.
Okay. Moved and supported to pay the Neighborhood Watch Coordinator at a rate of $30 per meeting.
Per diem, yeah, per meeting, that's a better word. for it.
Okay, any discussion? Have a roll call vote, please.
Dan,
Yes,
Joe.
Yes.
Pat, yes. And Bill.
I vote aye. Okay, moving on. The MTA dinner was held, the last part of February. I know we had several folks there, whoever, I did not attend. So, Joe, did you make it? I know
I
Pat
did.
made it. If you want to give a little report?
Do you want to take your impressions?
Well, it was a wonderful dinner. The food was great. They said that it was really well attended. We had over 160 people that came.
Good.
The lady that spoke was the legislator.
Yeah, the head legislative liaison, AKA lobby for Michigan Township Association. She's actually from Sand Lake County and vast experience in working with legislators on township matters.
Right.
So she says it's very effective for, to get, when moving legislation affecting township, when they hear from township officials around the state.
Right.
When supervisors, clerks, treasurers, and trustees, ping their representative saying, hey, this bill, we think it's a very good idea, or it's a very bad idea
Right.
for township. They said they heed very strongly on that when they hear from the township officials.
Right.
So,
I do that whenever something comes up. I just did it twice on the right-of-way bills that they were trying to pass. And I think
that's good.
can the board members get access on the Michigan Township Association website? Do we have passwords for that? Are we,
we do here at the hall.
but any elected official can get that access or not?
No,
Or is it individually just arranged?
Well, we gotta see if that,
Yeah, I mean,
So I was trying to get on, but
we're
I
both
just-
members of
Yeah, I couldn't.
yeah.
Michigan Township Association.
If we are members, we should have
Yeah.
passwords. Can you
Well, I
look
think
into
it's a
that?
member access, and Casco's a member because we pay our dues every year.
Right.
But you need a password.
I know, and Brenda has one
Yeah, I've got
to
it.
get us on.
I can give you a buzz. I was
Okay,
trying to
yeah,
research
yeah, give me-
some things, and they had a lot of information.
Okay. I'll see why
We're
not.
good.
Good.
Okay, thank you for the report. Moving on, new business, item A. And the law says we have to do this before the next fiscal year, which is April 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone has any questions?
8:50 or 7:50.
And you can ask them. We would ask for your name, but it's not mandatory. And that's what a public hearing does. Now, I also included a sheet which shows our millage rate this is what we charge you on your property taxes. And you can see on the constitutional millage, we get, what is it, 7717? That's a point. So for every $1,000 on your taxable, we get 77 cents. The other one is the road millage, and for every $1,000 taxable, we get 99.49 cents. Now, both of those millages were originally 1.0. Okay, and every time Headley kicks in, it drops that millage rate a little bit. So Headley's kicked in the last 2 years. So the first one, the 7.7, has gone down.
This is pegged to inflation.
Yeah, that if the homes sell for higher than the rate of inflation versus what they're assessed, then it's factored into all this other stuff, and then Headley will get you.
And Headley is?
Huh?
Could you explain to the?
Yeah, it got us the last 2 years, and it's probably gonna get us again this year. Now, 2 years ago, it only got 3 townships in the county, but last year it got all but 3, I think. And what it is, Headley says that if you generate more revenue than a certain amount, you can't do that. And the only way to address that is to lower the millage rate, so you get in that range of what you should have got. The trouble with Headley is, and there is a trouble, back in '08, when the economy went dead, all the house values went from, down 50%. Well, Headley doesn't factor that in. So now when the economy gets good again and they start going up, well, now they're going up at 6, 8, 10% a year. Well, now Headley bites you. So it's good one way and it's bad one way. The road millage, which is 9949, 2 years ago that was 1.0. So those are the 2 taxes that the township gets from you. We just finished collecting them for the year. And you can see it's not very much. If you have a house with 100,000 taxable value, you're gonna get like 160 bucks to us. And all the rest is going someplace else. So every dollar counts. We get ours in the winter, we just finished collecting it. The 7717 generates about 110,000 in Casco. And the 9949 generates about 142,000 in Casco. So, and if you look at the top, it's going to tell you that in 2017, the total taxable value of everything in Casco Township is $147,956,320. So I just threw that in to go along with the budget, because that's where we get a lot of our money. Okay, at this point, I'm going to open a public hearing. If you have any questions about the budget, be glad to hear them. Like I say, we'd like to get your name, but you don't have to do it.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm just looking at your original budget, your proposed up 22.
Yeah.
It's only a $19,000
What page are you
difference
on?
from the prior year. So what's the prior years before that? I mean, is that a trend that you're coming up higher than your original budget? So I understand raising.
Where are you looking at?
On your front page here,
Okay. Total revenues?
yeah,
Okay.
so expected revenues coming in.
Every year we project revenue and expense. The law says that you have to project more revenue than expense. It has to be balanced. Okay. We get, I don't know, in a good year we might get like 20,000 more than we may have gotten the year before. Like we get revenue sharing from the state 6 times a year.
Yeah, I see a lot of
Okay. There. Some years they give you 2%, some years they give you 4%. But until you get the money, you don't know what you're getting. The taxes, which is up at the top, and I was close. I didn't have this in front of me when I read it, but it's 140 and 110. Okay. Now this year, under expenditures, we increased elections because it's an election year. So we went from 1,000, I think it was, to 9 or 10,000. We also increased the building department because every time you get a permit and you do inspections, the building inspector gets paid. So that increases the expenditure, but if you go back under revenue, it also increases the revenue, so that balances. But you still have to have enough in here to cover your expenses. So, now, did I answer your question? You got another question? Or did I?
No, I was just wondering, so sometimes if you look at your trend from prior years, for example, your revenue sharing, it would justify the increase of your original budget. So I was just questioning that, but if it's unpredictable on some of these revenues that are coming in, you set your budget at that, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's close, but just if Headley bites us a little, well then, that'll take effect and we may get 4,000 or 5,000 less.
Bill, the state revenue sharing, what do you mean by 2 to 4%? I thought this was constitutionally guaranteed.
Revenue sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they can't increase it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they used to have statutory, but they stripped that all away.
Well, they still have statutory, but the only thing that applies to is if you own streets right now. On the revenue constitutional, it's budgeted in Lansing. And if you go look at the last 5 years, it changed, it goes on population. And you don't get the same every year. They increase it. Now this year, we actually did really good on revenue share. But our projection for next year is, it's an increase, but it's much less. So they can change it. Their budget doesn't, in Lansing, I don't believe takes effect until October. So we're similar to the schools. You have to make all your budgets before Lansing budgets how much you get. So if you want to take a minute and browse through, if you got any questions, glad to try and answer them.
Don't be shy.
What about the, so we're just looking at the 40,000 increase and the 40,000 decrease between the contracted road commission millage and the
Well, here's what we do.
services, how's that?
Money that comes in from the village has to be earmarked for the road. You can only spend it on the road. Well, over the last 4 years, every year there's a little extra. So our auditor told us last April that we have 60,000 that's earmarked that we haven't spent out of those 4 years. So I would rather use that up. So I put it on the road millage and lowered the other one, okay, which is general fund money. The other one I went down to 40. So that's why I did that. If we wouldn't have had any left over, no, it would have been the 141 for the millage and the rest would be general fund.
Okay. On this Parks and Recreation Fund, what is, we were just looking on the last page.
Okay.
So how does that change the funding allocation for the fund accounting on that? Why would that come out
Is
of?
there a specific line item?
It just says Parks and Recreation Fund, it's reduction of 18,000 recommended.
672.
Oh, that's the money.
17,564 recommended.
This last page?
672. Oh, you're looking down way at the bottom?
Yeah.
Well, here's where it gets goofy on this one this year. As we anticipated 200,000 expenditure because we're gonna buy the park.
Right?
Okay, so what we have to do is, we have to spend all the money out of our savings, the park savings, and then get reimbursed from the state.
Right.
So we can show the expenditures, but we cannot show the revenue because we already have the money, we're not taking it in. I mean, we have 300 and, if you go back on the financial page, I don't know if it's on there, that's the general fund. We have over 300,000 in the bank for the park and recs. So we're gonna cash CDs to pay it and then get reimbursed. So it shows the 200,000 under expenditures, but it doesn't have corresponding.
Yeah, if you look at the, I just looked at the top, there's that 174
Yeah.
in grants.
Yeah, that's from the grant, but it's
Right.
not, we're also gonna get some from the county.
Okay.
But first we have to spend it,
Right.
okay? So when you get down to the bottom, if you look at the total revenue, it's 191, and the total expenditure is 209, so that's a negative 18,000 for the year,
Right.
okay? Because the cost is not absolutely fixed, because we have to pay for it. We gotta get another assessment. And this assessment's gonna cost almost double the first one, because they have this list of things they have to do, you would not believe. We're probably gonna have to get another phase one environmental impact study. They have to waive the survey, or we're gonna have to get a survey, and that's about $2,500. There's gonna be title insurance. We have to do a little bit of legal work. We have to deed the mineral rights to the state of Michigan, or you're not getting your money,
That's how we get there.
you know? We have to buy a plaque for the state of Michigan, tell them how wondrous they are for giving us the money, or you don't get the money. So there are some expenses. I can't pinpoint the legal amount, and a little bit's up to the DNR if they're gonna let us waive a couple of things or not. But there's gonna be expenses besides the actual purchase price. Now, the actual purchase price was $175,000. We had the Conservancy buy it, and we're paying 4% interest on that, which will be a year and a half. So, you know, there's 10,000. So there are gonna be fees associated with it. But, so, we'd like to put other things on here, but the auditors just say you go crazy if you put,
Right,
you
right.
know, they give us a hard time. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't leaving Parks and Rec with nothing and.
No.
Here's some land, you have no money.
Well, I didn't bring it along, but I believe our general fund at the end of last April had around 700 and some thousand.
So we
And,
got money.
and the park and recs, I believe it's around 380 as we sit here.
Yeah.
So we're in pretty good shape financially.
She didn't get that report.
So whatever, those numbers sit till we get the audit done, they're doing that in June. Because you don't get the final numbers till they crunch the numbers.
If
So,
ever the voters in St. Clair County don't renew the park, then we need.
Yeah.
Right,
so,
right.
okay, is there any other questions from anybody? Then we can use a motion to close the public hearing, please.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Moved and supported to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Did I tell you roll call for that, Brenda, or not? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. Now we're up to item B, which we have, this is what we have to do legally tonight, is approval of the recommended budget for 2018-19. Like I mentioned before to the folks, that it's pretty similar. We just bumped up elections, and even that's a guess. We got new machines. We have to get all our workers recertified. We have to send them to class and all that. And hopefully, 2 years ago, I think we spent like 9,000, so I took a shot at 10.
But we have new voting machines that will be going into effect in the
Yeah,
primary?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got them.
Are they paper ballots still?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're supposedly better because the new machine can actually print ballots, so you don't have to buy 10,000 extra
Well,
ones.
I just want to make sure there's paper ballots, so there's
Oh,
actually.
yeah, there
Yeah, they're
is.
paper.
We haven't gone to the other kind. Relax, calm down.
So,
But
I know what
I
you
have
mean.
problems with
I know.
electronic voting. That's a fun, that could be easily tampered with.
Right.
so
No,
hopefully we're covered good. It's not that much change.
Legitimate concern.
So, we could use a motion to approve the recommended budget for 18-19.
I make a motion to approve the recommended budget for the year 2018 and 2019.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the recommended budget. And even though we normally don't do this after a motion, but if anybody forgot to ask something when we just had the public hearing, I'll still take a question if you got one. Any discussion from the board? Or a roll call vote, please?
Bill,
Aye.
Pat, yes. Joe
Yes.
and Dana.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on, item C. This is a contract with Shelley Baumeister as Township Assessor. I can tell you she is very good at her job.
And she also put us on the right track after. the
She did. We had some problems with the state, and we had somebody come in, and Lynn really cleared it up, and then she brought Shelley in. She does 5 townships. She's very good. She has not had a raise in 7 years. She's been here working with us for 7 years. She charges us basically, she's been charging us $10 a parcel, which comes to about 20,000. She asked to go to $11 a parcel, and she tells me that's what she gets in the other 4 townships. And she's probably well worth the money.
Oh, yeah, every penny.
Total cost from what other townships pay, you know, we're not being overcharged at all. And she works in well with the people that are here. Everybody gets along great, and I couldn't recommend her higher, more highly. Now this one, we put in for a 2-year contract instead of 1, so we won't have to do this for 2 years. So the contract recommendation is for, I don't know, it's written here someplace, 21,000, it just says $11 a parcel.
10,890.
No,
That's half of it,
that's only half.
yeah. So it's,
That's wrong.
Well, then it's gotta be fixed.
no, because half, she works half contract and half employee. So she gets 10,890 for each half. So you can add them together and get your
Well,
answer.
that's not what this says.
Oh,
Not what this says. Doesn't say, it says annually.
You just read that section.
I don't think she changed the wording, except just the numbers.
But just for the benefit of everyone.
You want to read it? Go ahead.
Sure.
Dan.
As an employee of the Casco,
oh,
of
she gets
Township of
99
Casco,
per month.
the assessor shall be paid $907.50 per month, or $10,890 annually, with said compensation to be payable in equal monthly installments not later than the 30th day of each month after service is rendered. The remainder of the annual contract, $10,890, shall be paid at $907.50 per month. This payment includes all expenses the assessor might incur in the normal performance of her duties. Total amount is the compensation is computed by using the total parcel count as established by the March Board of Review, and that is 1,980 parcels at $11 per parcel.
Okay, that must be right, chief.
Okay, the total cost per year is $21,780.
Okay,
Okay,
we had figured it out.
so
I
And when does this start, in April?
it does, it says it there, starts April
Okay.
1, right on the
April
top of the
8th
first page.
through March 21st, 2020.
Yep,
I'll move that we approve the contract for our current assessor at the amounts just described.
I'll support that.
moved and supported to approve the contract with the assessor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we have a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill.
Aye.
I mean, yeah, go ahead, and Pat. I forgot myself.
Okay,
All right.
moving on. Item D, network computers. This is a company in Lakeport that we hired, and they maintain all our technical stuff, and they do a satisfactory job. They've been doing it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that. They charge us $3,000 a year, which you may think is a lot of money, and I think it's a lot of money. But for that amount, they come down here as many times as it takes. We never have to go up there. They come down, repair it here, and if they can't fix it here, they take it back and bring it back. Most IT people charge you by the hour, and if they never break, you do really well, but if they break, it costs you a fortune. The one neighboring township we have, which has a little bit bigger than us, they get a half, 4 hours a week, and it comes to like $12,000 for them. So the price is the same, it's $3,000 a year. So I think it's a good and reasonable contract.
Make a motion to approve network computers contract for $3,000.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to approve the contract with Network Computers in the amount of $3,000. Is there any discussion? We have a roll call vote, please.
Bill,
Aye.
Pat, yes, Joe,
Yes.
and Dan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item E. Now, you just got to look at all those budget items. They also tell you when you get to the end of the year, before the end of the year, you gotta balance it, or the auditors get very unhappy. So, we balanced the general fund last month. This month, there's 2 items that are off in the liquor control. The person that does the inspection, gets paid by the stop, and they had a couple more stops, so we ran $28 over our projected cost. The other one, several years ago during the audit, they said there was money allocated to the liquor fund that should have been in the general fund in the amount of $772. The auditor strongly recommended we transfer it back to the general fund. So we're finally going to do that before the end of the fiscal year. Is everyone out there aware of what the liquor control fund is at all? Okay, currently in the township, there are 11 liquor licenses. Most of them are beer and wine. Okay. The state controls all that, and they charge all these people with liquor licenses X amount of dollars. Depends if they serve it by the glass, the bottle, or beer and wine. Then the township is responsible for inspecting them once a month. So 11 places once a month. We have our constable go out and make sure their license is displayed properly, the dates are right, and there's a whole host of things he does. So we take, and then the state pays us a share of what they charge, and they pay us like roughly $3,900 a year. Okay. Well, I don't want to get too lengthy in this, but years ago they used to pay us way more, so we got $10,000 in the bank. And everybody says you're nuts. Get that down because someday the state's going to say, give us that money back. So when they were paying us all this extra money, the inspector was getting good money. But now that we have all the beer and wine licenses, which pay less, he gets more stops. We're getting less money per stop. So we did cut the constable's pay per visit $5, but we're still running in the hole a little bit because we're trying to get it down from 10,000 to under 5 anyway. But he gets $28 for every place he goes. And he has to fill out these forms and we mail them to Lansing. So that's the liquor control. That money is just like the park money, it cannot be touched for any other purpose. You can only use it for liquor control. And the only person that can inspect those is either the constable or a police officer. So we elect to have the constable do it to keep it local. So that's what the fund is. And because of the two things I mentioned, we need a couple line item adjustments, and that's what's on the agenda tonight. You wanna read those off or anything? You want me to read them?
Go ahead and read.
Okay. We have line item 212-101, 832 is, we budgeted $3,696. We're amending it $28 to get to $3,724. We have 212-101, 956. We had budgeted 120. We're kicking in the 772. The auditors tell us we need to do to get an amended budget of $892. The monies will be taken out of the liquor fund account, and that is 212-000-390, and we're taking $800 out of that to cover those expenses.
Okay, I make a motion to do the budget adjustments with the amounts just described.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported to approve the mentioned line item amounts. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Pat, Tess, and Bill.
I vote aye. The last item on the agenda is an urban limits agreement. This could be another long story, but I'm gonna really try and speed it up. Back about 18 years ago, they had a big fight with annexation between
Oh, there.
us and the city and the town, Columbus Township and stuff. And we had a 425 agreement, and the state said they didn't like it, so we lost in court. Then we started a negotiation between the townships and the city of Richmond so that we wouldn't get into that legal nightmare. And it came very close back in 2008 to getting an agreement, and it kind of froze. So we're looking at it again. And what it does is, when you have property that is contiguous to the city, instead of having people running around trying to get annexed, you form an agreement with that city. So if certain things happen, you get something, they get something. Okay. We're trying to work out setting up a meeting. We have not met yet with several townships in the city. And something may work out and it may not. So I just put it on the agenda for informational purposes, and if anybody on the board has a problem with doing that, I did ask Dan if he would accompany me, so we have 2 people there. He said he would do that. Colleen did it 10 years ago, but she said she would be very happy with Dan doing it. Because, well, Colleen's gonna focus on the park pretty soon.
When's this meeting supposed to take place?
They haven't scheduled it, they have to coordinate the townships. So, I included all the stuff from
Right.
2008.
Even Dan will be officially is okay if I just go as an observer? Be interested.
You know, I'd have to call and ask.
Okay.
Because
That's fine.
when we spoke, I mentioned that I thought 2 from each community would be a good number.
Okay.
So, and we'll see where it goes. If it doesn't go anyplace, we're not out anything. If it does,
We'll talk to you.
it might be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an open meeting, I'll just drop by as an observer.
Well, I don't know that, I think it's just gonna be a closed type thing.
Okay. Yeah, I have some concerns on this.
Okay.
And not just annexation, but also the opposite way of detachment where townships could.
Well, that's a long story I don't wanna get into.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, I do have one 425 agreement for a sample. I tried to get some from MTA.
Same here.
I wasn't successful.
Get on.
We'll get you.
Our planner said he thought he could get me some. I was booked up the last 2 days with board review, so by tomorrow I'm gonna call him, see if he got us some. And just try and get some more ideas. So,
Yeah, the one nice thing, the leadership in the city of Richmond was different than we had the
Yeah,
initial.
yeah,
Far
we've got a
different.
nicer set of groups.
so it never hurts to talk. I mean, you might come to something that's beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some negative sides to it, but there can be some positive sides, so let's see what happens.
Sure.
Okay, moving on. Pay the bills.
Any questions?
And I make a motion that we, pay the bills as presented.
I'll support it.
Moved and supported to pay the bills. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Where did I leave? Bill,
Aye.
Pat, yes. Joe,
Yes.
and Dan.
Did you vote, Dan?
Oh,
Dan.
yes, please. Pay the bills, please.
Motion carries.
Okey-doke.
Okay, moving on, citizens' comments. Even though we've done this a few times tonight, if anyone in the audience has any questions or comments, now's your opportunity. We would request your name, but it's not mandatory. This is your chance. What I tell you? Pretty quiet out there.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for coming.
Yep, thanks for coming.